Hello, welcome back to Salty Sunshine. I'm your host, Lisa. I hope everyone's having a wonderful week. It's Super Bowl weekend. We are going for the Patriots. I don't know. I'm a Patriots fan. I always have been. I don't know why. I'm not from there, but it's all the Hawkeyes. I don't know. They're a good team. I saw this post of Tom Brady that had me peeing, cackling in my pants. He posted these stories on his Instagram of him kind of like on the bed, cuddled up with a pillow, taking selfies, talking about his football lazy journey at home. And it was so funny because everybody's like, this is a teenage post. This is what a 13-year-old, 18-year-old would post. Him and his thoughts, cuddling in bed, pillow talk. It was so funny. But Tom Brady will be all over that. I think he had the fans really upset because he mentioned he had no skin in the game for the Super Bowl because he's not part of the Patriots anymore. And that has everyone up in arms. I don't know, I'm not a super fan football sports person, but the sports people are not happy about that. They were passing around, it was called squares at my office. This guy was having everyone, if they wanted to jump in and bet on different outcomes for the Super Bowl, but I don't know enough about it. But that sounds like fun. Real Housewives of New York, the spinoff, The Golden Life, I think it's called, that's coming on the E network. I know it's been confirmed. I reported it pretty early, I must say. And I heard through the grapevine, I'm here in Miami, and I know a lot of people in real estate, and she's been emailing companies directly that have properties down in West Palm in that area. And she's like, hello, can someone answer me? I'm really interested in renting for a few months for this reality show. And so she's definitely coming down here and it's definitely going to be in Florida. So you heard it here first. I got exclusive information from my broker friends. So it's happening. Bethany Frankel also said on her TikTok, I think, she said that she's really happy for the girls. She thinks it's a great idea. She thinks the competition's good. She thinks it's whatever, but it's not for her because it's not healthy for her mindset. And she wishes them the best and all the success, but she's not interested. But she has other things up her sleeve, whatever that means. So she's definitely not participating. A little update on true crime. The au pair affair, that guy Brendan Banfield, that him and his wife hired an au pair from Brazil, and then he started having an affair with her, then orchestrated to have his wife killed, which he did. And he killed the person he hired on top of that from like a sex website to come perform a fetish act of rape on his wife, which the guy had no idea he was being set up so he could take the fall for murder, but he got murdered too. So he is sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. Thank God. And then the au pair, Juliana, she's already had time served, about 2.5 years that she's been in jail, but she could possibly get another 10, as she should, because she was part of it. She's just getting a lesser sentence because she turned on him and testified against him. So that's great news. And then the Tepe murder, the Ohio couple, was it Ohio? The dentist and the beautiful wife, her disgusting ex-husband, Mr. McKee, remains in jail without bond, and he pled not guilty. And the autopsy shows that he shot the couple 16 times between the both of them. So this was a hate murder. He went there. He's disgusting, obsessed. After 10 years, get over it. 10 years, he's obsessing over this woman. And he was abusive while he was with her, hence why she left him. And he couldn't get over it. And he went and shot them 16 times between the both of them. Just think about that. That's a lot of times. 16 times. That's 8 times on one, 8 times on the other, at least. So you're talking all over the body. That's a rage. And he's pleading not guilty. It's insane. I hope he gets the death sentence. The Grammys were this week, and I didn't watch it all, but I watched some of it. All I have to say, no, I'm not all I have to say. I have a lot to say. The highlights, the Bad Bunny made history, album of the year, first all Spanish album to get album of the year. His reaction was super cute. He was crying. Did I love the political commentary after? No. This is like a tale as old as time. These Hollywood people, why is the award show the time to talk about your political ideas? I don't get it. Go on your Instagram, go on your YouTube, go wherever you want. Why at an award show? So bizarre. It's so annoying. But anyways, you know what I wish they would talk about? Why don't they get up on stage and say, hey men, the men that attack women and rape women and kidnap them and abduct them and don't let them go for a freaking walk in peace? What the hell's wrong with you? Men out there, why don't you talk to other men? Why don't people get out there and talk to, I feel like it's completely desensitized. We live in a world that every day there's 5,000 rapes and abductions and murders of women by men and nobody talks about it. And that's what needs to be talked about. Not your frivolous ideas that are so nuanced. Like there's arguments for everything and there's so much more context. Like talk about that. That I wouldn't mind. That I would love, 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 love. Both Kendrick Lamar and Bad Bunny won Grammys right before performing at the Super Bowl. So is it a setup? Do they do that on purpose? Is it planned? Because now Bad Bunny's going to go play the Super Bowl. Cher, oh my gosh, Cher had a moment. She was supposed to come out and announce album of the year. And she came out, made a speech, and walked off stage. And they're like, hello, come back. So she had to come back. And then I think she still got it wrong of the person. So justice for Dax Shepard. That's all I have to say. I mentioned last week that I didn't appreciate her comments to Jack Shepard on his podcast, saying that she didn't know what his wife saw in him. And I thought that was so freaking rude. Why would you say that to someone? So I say, I'm sure Dax appreciated that age is not just a number and she's going senile. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it kind of feels like karma that Cher had to embarrass herself up there. Sabrina Carpenter's performance was amazing. I loved it. I think she did get backlash because of the bird. I think there was a live animal up there and PETA is not having it. Animals need to stay home. If you're not going on a walk, if you're not going to the park, if you're not going to an outdoor leisurely place, leave your animals at home. I hate when I go to a bar and I see dogs in a club. I want you arrested. I want you arrested. These dogs, and they don't want, their ears are more sensitive than ours. That's so chaotic for them. The noise, the people screaming, the darkness. It's not, drunk people are on your angels. What are you doing? It's like taking are you going to take a 3-year-old to a crowded bar full of drunk people that's super loud? No. Why are you going to take your dog? They don't want to be there. I see it all the time. It drives me nuts. It should be banned. Yeah, leave animals out of your entertainment. So Lady Gaga performed Abracadabra. It was quite weird, but that's her thing. So that's what she's known for. Justin Bieber came out in his boxers with a guitar, which I don't think he touched a guitar. I think it just hung on the back of him. So it was a prop. The performance alone is good. It's like private moment, no frills, but why the boxers? I don't know. Couldn't he just wear shorts or something? And socks. He wore boxers and socks. Was he not cold? Post Malone did a tribute to Ozzy Osbourne. That was sad. I'm sorry, but the Osbournes look unwell. I know they're grieving, but they looked unwell before the grieving. They're just withering away. Withering away. I don't know how they walk. They look so frail. They need to stop. I don't know why people are doing this to themselves. So that's the Grammys. It was fun. Chapel Roan's outfit, my gosh. Those clips on her breasts, on her nipples, that's not a good look. That wasn't a good look. It looked like it was like pulling them down. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I started to watch this show on Hulu called Memory of a Killer. Patrick Dempsey's in it. It's pretty good. I think, was there 1 episode or 2? I'm not up to date. I think there's another one out there waiting for me. It's pretty good. He's basically a contract killer. He has a daughter. I think his wife passed away. Someone killed his wife, like a drunk driver. And then he has a daughter that has a husband and she's pregnant. and they don't know. She thinks her dad sells like appliances or something, but he's actually a contract killer. But the problem that's happening in the show is he's kind of losing his memory a little bit, so he might have an onset of some sort of issue, and it's kind of messing up his work. So it's pretty interesting. I like it so far. There's another show I'm dying to see, but it's gonna be on MGM Plus. What is MGM Plus? Another streaming service I don't have. So I'm gonna wait for the whole show to play out, and then I'm gonna do the free trial on Prime and binge watch it. It's with Kaylee Cuoco. It's called Vanished. It looks pretty good. She's on a train going on a romantic getaway with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend disappears, and then that turns into a whole thing, a whole drama. So that must be good. She did that show Airplane, which was really weird. It was good, but I didn't love it. So I'm hoping this one's better. I'll get into Tell Me Lies at the end, but the story that's going everywhere, which is the craziest thing ever, Savannah Guthrie's mom abduction. It's the weirdest story. So her mom goes out with her family. I think her name is Nancy Guthrie. On January 31st, she goes to her family gathering at another family member's home around 5:30. She returns. First, they said the family dropped her off at her house just before 10 p.m. And now they're saying it's coming out that an Uber took her home. And why didn't the Uber make sure she went in the house? But I'm sure she did go in the house, because apparently whoever disconnected the Ring camera, that wasn't until like 1:50 a.m. So the mom goes home around 10 p.m. Then February 1st in the middle of the night, somebody goes and rips the Ring camera off the door to test if the police would come. And when they didn't, it did detect someone at 2:12 a.m., but there's no video. So it detected motion, but no video. And then 2:28 a.m., Nancy's pacemaker gets disconnected from her phone, which was still at the house once everybody went in to look at the house. The family called to check on her around 11:50 a.m. the next morning, and then they called the police at 12:03, and the police arrived at 12:15. It's been 7 days. I think it's 7 days of someone missing without her pacemaker connected and without her medication. I can't believe that she's still alive. I mean, I don't know how that works, but I hope she is. This is the craziest story. So they found squirts of blood on the floor. That's not good. Why is there blood? And then they had a rumor go around that it was the brother-in-law, son-in-law, and they're saying no, that's not true. And then TMZ gets a ransom note. Why would they send TMZ a ransom note? What is going on? So obviously, it could be fake. And then also, they've had multiple ransom notes. They're asking for Bitcoin, and then Savannah comes out and does a video with her siblings on Instagram asking for proof of life and all this stuff. I don't know. This is very weird. What are we looking at? First of all, she's a celebrity. She's known. Why does anyone think they're going to get away with this and actually get money out of it? Is Bitcoin not traceable whatsoever? Don't you have to deposit it into a number account? I don't know. But how would they ever even transfer Bitcoin? You're not going to transfer before you get the person back. So how would you do that? It just doesn't seem like it's doable. How do you give a Bitcoin and get the money and get the body back at the same time, the person back? I don't see how that. Did they think this through? This doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it's very stressful. I almost feel like it's fake. It doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that to an 84-year-old woman and someone famous? You do this with people that are rich and not famous, so it doesn't get all this attention, It doesn't make sense. It's very bizarre. So I'm on the edge of my seat, waiting to see what happens with that. I did see a special from Diane Sawyer. Remember the Turpins? That was those, well, I don't know how many kids. It was like a bunch of kids, at least 10 kids at this sick parent couple had suffering in their house, chained up to beds, malnourished, hadn't showered in years, disgusting. And one of the brave girls got free and snuck out the window and thought this was her chance and ran out, called the cops somehow, and saved her whole family. That was years ago. And the new special with Diane Sawyer is on Hulu. And she's basically saying the kids went to foster care and they put them in abusive foster care. I mean, how does this happen? The government system is so bad. That's why when you see all this cop violence and you see all this stuff, every department is going to have, people are running the departments and people are corrupt in general. Not everybody, but a lot are. So you're going to have all these mistakes and you're going to have all this mistreatment. And on top of that, you have bad management to manage these people that have a mix of bad, people in there. They put them in abusive foster care. So these kids went and were abused verbally, physically. Some of the girls were touched by disgusting man that lived in the house. How do they allow that to happen? It went on for so long that they sued them after, but the damage is done. They went from one abusive situation to another. I don't know how they allowed that to happen. That's just crazy. I don't think it's necessary for anyone to go watch it because the first half of the show is just recapping what we already saw happen a long time ago. So there's no need to really watch it. I also I have a little bit of a cold if I sound funny. I haven't had a cold in so long. The good news is because of all the supplements I take, it doesn't get very far. So this is the worst of it. But everybody around me is so deathly ill. It's crazy. But thanks to my elderberry syrup, my collagen colostrum that I'm obsessed with, I stay pretty not sick. So I listened to this podcast with Fancy Pants, Heather Dubrow, and Terry Dubrow. I love them. The only thing about their podcast, it's very short. So let's say it's 15, 20 minutes and it's 10 minutes of ads. It's so annoying because it's a short podcast and half of it is ads. So it's constant ads and that drives me nuts. That's the only thing I don't like about it. But they have a podcast called Between Us and I love Terry. He's so funny. He says, if you're a man over the certain age and you're starting to get thin hair and lose your hair, he recommends all men start taking oral minoxidil and get hair plugs. And I couldn't agree with him more because women go through a lot 24/7. It's a lot of work, especially as we get older. And the least men can do is take the minoxidil and get the hair plugs. Keep the head on your hair. The options are there. It's not it's easy to do. Just do it. We want men with hair. I think it's a reasonable ask. And I like that Terry's on the same page. There's no reason not to. Women do so much, men can do it. I love that podcast. I think they're so funny. They just talk about random stuff. She'll try to explain to him what's happening in pop culture. And he's like, oh, she tried to tell him about the toxic mom group with Ashley Tisdale. He's like, wait, who did what? She's like, it's cute. They're cute. I like their dynamic. I stopped listening to the Lisa Rinna and Harry Hamlin podcast. I was really enjoying it at the beginning and I just stopped. I got so over it. I don't know. Lisa Rinna's kind of, I don't know. You can only listen to her for like a little bit and then you get over it. Just like her time on Traders, which I don't watch Traders. I know everybody is obsessed with that show. I have no interest. I tried to watch it years ago. I saw an episode and I didn't want to watch anymore. I don't know. I don't like those kind of shows. But I heard she was super annoying on it. She just tries too much to be this, I don't know. She's just too over the top. And she puts this attitude. It just doesn't go, I don't know. I'm not buying what she's selling, basically. But let's talk about Tummy Lies. I think we have only 2 episodes left, maybe 3. I think after this week, it's 2. I don't know how they're going to wrap this all up in a bow. There's too much up in the air. What is happening? All I have to say is I'm over Lucy and I'm over Steven. If they just left and didn't come back on the show, I'd be good. I'm into everyone else's storyline. I want to know what happens with Brie, with Wrigley, with Pippa, with Diane, all of that. I don't care about Lucy and I don't care about Steven. They took it too far. They've just taken it too far. Lucy is just too ridiculous for me. Steven, they called, they went to this party and someone's like, which one is Steven? And she's like, the one that looks like a lizard. He's just getting on my nerve. It's just silly. There's no reason anyone would ever allow someone to be so ridiculous and hold something over their head. I would just tell them to F off and tell everyone the truth. Like, stop. Lucy is too much. It's too stupid. She's acting like ridiculous. I don't care about their storyline. The less I see of them, the better. I'm over it. This is why this should be their last season if they're going to continue. Because how much more of this can you do with Steven and Lucy? It's like too much. And the fact that he did all this and treated her this way, the way he has up to this week's episode, and the fact that when you fast forward to Bree's wedding, she's still sleeping with Steven, I would personally like to punch Lucy in the face. The fact that I could never be friends with her. Oh my gosh. Just that you can't. There's no excuse. Why would she ever? So in this episode, Bree's mom calls her and says, "Oh, I got a day off work and I think I can make your exhibit tomorrow." They didn't show the exhibit, so that'll be the next episode maybe. I have a feeling she's not going to show up and Bree's going to be disappointed. Her and Wrigley have this tension between them, and Wrigley's kind of pissed and tells her, "Stop confiding in me. I'm not your boyfriend. What are you doing?" Because he's also conflicted because he has feelings for her, obviously. She's playing it off. "What are you talking about? You know, there's nothing going on between us." And he's like, "You know what you're doing and you better stop it because blah, blah, blah." It's funny. He tells her all these things of why the group is so screwed up. And that the only decent one there is Pippa being the perfect girlfriend, yet she's cheating on him, but he doesn't know it. And then Evan finds out that Bree's mom, that she went to see her mom and that she wants to like have her in her life again because Evan thinks she's going to go to New York and stay with him for the summer. And then Bree's like, "I don't think I can. And I might spend the time with my mom." And he's like, "Since when? Why would you trust your mom? She's an alcoholic," all this stuff. So he's not being supportive. And Wrigley is. So he gets Bree. He gets her more. She feels more connected and she can be herself and talk about stuff like that. And she doesn't feel like that with Evan. But she still ends up marrying him. So that's how you see. That's the human condition. So then after Diane tells Steven she can't wait to terminate her pregnancy, he gets upset and he sends the photos he sent in the email of her nudes. He sent them to her dad. I knew he didn't send them to a college or anything because that would get him in trouble. Although he somehow sent it anonymously, which I don't know how you would do that. I don't think that's not a thing. You have to create an email and you put a name to it, but it's definitely not anonymous. It's just someone you don't know. Can you send an email? You can't send an email that's anonymous. And Diane's mom calls her very upset. "How could you send this to your dad?" And she said, "I didn't do anything. What are you talking about?" And she realizes that Steven did it, which I don't know why she just didn't tell her mom to tell her dad that it was Steven. So her dad is a lawyer, has connections. He can get down to the bottom of it and get Steven in trouble. These people don't tell on each other. It drives me nuts. So that happened. She gives Lucy the advice to just let it go, stay the hell away from Steven. When they're all at the party in this episode, Steven gets her with his new girlfriend or girl that he's dating. Lucy should have left. Just leave. Why? She sticks around like the biggest dodo head and lets him berate her in front of everyone and say stupid things. Why don't you just use your legs and walk away? Then they sit there and Steven's date comes up with this ridiculous paranoia game that you know is going to lead to nonsense. Lucy plays it. Why doesn't anyone just say, "I don't want to play anymore"? It's just like, anyways, so it gets uncomfortable. Then she leaves and she's all stressed. And the guy that she's hooking up with, Alex, which was a foster kid with Bree, he sells drugs, which is very sad. I hope he doesn't get in trouble for it because he seems like a sweet guy, but he shouldn't be selling drugs. And then they have this weird sexual hatred thing going on with Lucy's problems. And then starting to affect Alex now because Alex is like, I'm attracted to you. I kind of like you, but you're so screwed up. And I like having sex with you like this, but I feel bad about it, but I'm not a bad guy. Like he's kind of conflicted and he's like, I don't know if I should be doing this, but I don't know. He's kind of stuck in this thing with her and she could probably screw him up. He needs to run away from Lucy. Um, I don't think he was at the wedding with her, was he? I don't think, fast forward, that he was still around that I remember. But then Diana tells Lucy, you need to just let it go. You're the worst. You make everything worse. You obsess over things. You try to quote unquote fix them and you make them worse and worse and worse. And Diana's right, but Lucy can't help it. And it's just crazy. So Wrigley is getting hot and heavy with Diane. Um, not really. Pippa. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen in these next episodes. Oh, and then Bree shows up at the professor's house demanding to see him because she finds out the girl he's having sex with, the student, she was 17 when they started having an affair. And so she goes to tell the wife, are you sick? She's only 17. This is disgusting. And they talk it out and have tea and whatever. That lady's gross. Why don't they tell the school what's going on? I don't know why they don't do that, but I love the show other than Stephen and Lucy. I don't want to see Stephen and Lucy anymore. I've hit my limit. But that's my recap on Tell Me Lies. And enjoy the Super Bowl. That's all I have. Oh, I'm reading Teresa Giudice's book. Well, I'm going to start reading her book, Turning Tables. I've read like a few pages. And I'll recap that on my book review. We're about to do a book review for Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I really enjoyed. So stay tuned for that. Bye.